In this video, we're going to review injecting 7 cents into a simple 5-email nurture or drip campaign. Nurture campaigns in and of themselves are a very powerful tool marketers have at their disposal. However, they do have inherent challenges in getting people to engage and stay engaged throughout. This is where injecting AI into your campaigns can have a huge impact. Let's take a look at this example on my screen. As you can see, this person filled out a form on our website and was subsequently delivered an email 5 minutes after the form fill with the requested download information. But as you can see, they did not engage with the email until around 8 p.m. at night. Now, this first email is part of a nurture campaign, and had we not injected 7 cents into the campaign, each subsequent email would be delivered at 3 p.m. Instead, we're going to inject 7 cents into the nurture campaign. As each individual traverses the campaign, it will actually get smarter and smarter about when to send the next email. In a previous video, we had reviewed how profiles are built with 7 cents, and in this case, it works the same. So without further ado, let's move over to HubSpot and inject 7 cents into a workflow. So we've got this simple campaign here. And what I'm going to do is we're actually going to clone this. So if you've got an existing workflow in production, we do not recommend, we do have a method of turning off the old workflow, turning on the new workflow. But this would be an example. So it's, they filled out a form, delay for 5 minutes. The first email is going to go 5 minutes after the form fill. We're going to delay 5 days, send another email, delay 5 days, send another email, so on and so forth. Now, this methodology can also be used when you are using a date-based workflow, such as for webinar campaigns and other campaigns that are centered around a date or an event. So let's just go ahead and, again, clone this workflow. And we're going to actually call this the initiator. So we'll click submit. And what we're going to do is we're actually just going to build, think of this as the bones of the workflow. We're not going to touch this first email because we want it to go 5 minutes right after that email or right after the form fill, 5 minutes afterwards. Instead, what we're going to do is for each one of these, we're actually going to delete them, and we're going to do what's called triggering a webhook. So we'll just fill out, again, we're just building the structure of this. So let me delete each of these, and we'll come back in and we'll fill out the webhook details, that is. So let me just keep removing these. And finally, we're going to delete this last one, and we are going to trigger a webhook. And again, we'll come back in and fill out all these details. Now what we want to do is we want to create a delivery workflow. So we'll just duplicate this, and we'll say go back to workflows. And we're going to say create a workflow. And let me just copy this over here. We'll name this the actual delivery workflow. And so what we're going to do for the enrollment triggers is we're just going to say allow contacts who meet the starting criteria to re-enroll when they are manually enrolled. And just as an FYI, people can be enrolled in these workflows manually all the time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a very simple if-then branching logic. And we're going to say marketing emails. And the first one that we had was the sample, let me see here, was nurture campaign email 2. And we're going to say, was the contact sent this email? And if they were not, then what we're going to do is we're actually going to send them this email. Click save. And we're just going to rinse and repeat this now for the rest of the marketing emails. So we're going to say nurture campaign email 3 and was sent email not sure why that's happening. So let's do this again. We will do marketing emails. This is the third one. Contact was sent email. And then we're going to send them the email. Again, we're just going to rinse and repeat this now. And we'll review everything once we have the structure together. We've got email 4 was sent. And let's zoom out a little bit so we can follow this. And we're going to say if then branch, marketing emails, nurture email 5 was sent. Click save. And if they were not sent that email, then we're going to send the email. So for all intents and purposes, we are now done with the delivery aspect. So you can see here, when somebody's enrolled, we're going to say where they sent email 1, or I'm sorry, in this case, email 2, because email 1 is going out 5 minutes afterwards. Send email 2, email 3, send email 3, email 4, send email 4, email 5, send email 5. We're going to turn this on. And because we're turning this on, nothing effectively is going to happen. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here to the initiator and we're going to fill out the webhook details. So let's go ahead and create a webhook, and I'm going to copy this. And we'll bring it over here, and we're going to say we want this webhook pointed at the delivery workflow. And we can see right here, we just select that. Now, I've got a couple of options here for webhook type. The most commonly used are either next 24 hours, which means when HubSpot makes a call to us, we're going to try and determine when in the next 24 hours, by not only time of day, but day of week, it takes both of those into consideration, is the next most optimal time to send the email. The other option is next week frequency optimized. This is typically used for things like reactivation campaigns. What this will do is it will not only say, hey, do I have data on Sarah? When in the next 24 hours is the most optimal time for her? It might be 8 p.m. Or is Sarah in a little bit more of a fatigued state with my email, meaning she's either inactive or passive in my email program? If that's the case, I want to try and increase the probability of reaching her. And so therefore, I'm going to pick the peak period of engagement, not only within the next 24 hours, but we're actually going to look across the entire week to understand when do I have the highest probability of reaching Sarah as an individual. So we'll use one of the two options, which is either next 24 hours or next week, either one of those algorithms. So we're going to select next 24 hours because this would be a new nurture campaign where somebody's filling out a form on our website. And I'm going to say create webhook, and I'm just going to go into the details. We will copy this, and we're now going to fill out the webhook details and the app ID. I should have this 27152. Actually, you know what? We're not going to fill that out. I'm sorry. Yes, we are. save. And we are now done. I am actually not going to turn this on purely because I don't want people to be enrolled in this new workflow. But effectively, let me walk you through what's going to happen. Somebody fills out the form. We're going to delay for 5 minutes. We're then going to send them the first email. We're going to delay for 5 days. Then what's going to happen is HubSpot is going to ping us with a webhook about Sarah's details. And we're going to say when in the next 24 hours is the most optimal time for Sarah to get her next email. We are then going to insert Sarah into this workflow, the delivery campaign, and we're going to say, was she sent email 2? No, she was not. Send her email 2. She then drops out of this workflow, but she's still staying in this workflow. Now we're going to delay another 5 days. During that 5 days, 7 Cents is going to learn even more about Sarah's engagement. And the system is going to trigger a webhook. We're going to say for Sarah, when in the next 24 hours is the most optimal time. When that time comes along, we're then going to insert Sarah back into this workflow. And it's going to say, was Sarah sent email 2? Yes, she was. Was Sarah sent email 3? No, she was not. Send her email 3. Sarah drops out of this workflow. And we're just going to keep rinsing and repeating this. So this is really that 4th email. After the delay of 5 days, it's going to trigger a webhook to our system. When in the next 24 hours is the most optimal time for Sarah to get email 4. We're going to drop her in this workflow at that time. Was she sent email 2? Yes, she was. Was she sent email 3? Yes, she was. Was she sent email 4? No, she was not. Send her email 4. She'll drop out of this campaign. So this allows people to just traverse the workflow in a very simple way versus building even more complexity in a single workflow. And that's it for today.